Saw these on the Wilton website and had to give them a try. Sunflower cookie pops.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for yoyomax12.
Hello everyone, I love sunflowers. I have sunflower decor in my kitchen and I have sunflowers in my backyard, and that's what you're seeing right now. Some of the sunflowers that I grew this year, and they're still out there because they last quite a long time. So here we go. Gonna start off with an Oreo cookie. It doesn't have to be an Oreo, it can be any kind of round sandwich cookie, will be just fine. Twist off one at the top of the cookie, then you'll need a lollipop stick, and you're gonna kind of push it into the frosting layer to make a space. And you'll see a little piece of frosting that kind of lumps up a bit. Just kind of squish it back down onto the cookie. And then you're gonna dip just the end of that stick into some melted chocolate or candy melts. I'm using candy melts here because they're so easy to work with. And you're going to press that into the little channel that you made and then put the cookie top back on. Now, depending on the size of your lollipop stick, this might happen. You may get like a seesaw action going here. So if that's the case, you might have to add a little bit extra chocolate just because you want that lollipop stick to be secure inside the cookie. So a little extra chocolate will do the trick. If you have smaller lollipop sticks, this probably won't happen. Then you're going to let those harden. Once that chocolate's hardened, you can dip it into your candy melts. Now I put my candy melts in a narrow glass, that way you don't have to use as much. Dip it, then you're going to allow the excess to drip off. I just lightly tap it on the edge of the glass on the stick part. And I scrape off the excess on the bottom and I place it on a silicone mat, but you could also use waxed paper and allow that to harden. Now we're going to make the sunflower petals. You'll need 2 circle templates. One that's going to be a little bit bigger than the actual cookie itself. And I took a pencil and just drew the outline on some paper. And you'll also need a circle that's slightly smaller than your completed dipped cookie. And I just found some cookie cutters that I had that were the right size, and I also drew that one as well. Now you don't want to put the chocolate directly on top of the markings because it might come off, so I put another piece of paper on top, and then you're going to get some candy melts in yellow. Melt them. I put mine in a piping bag, but you can just use a Ziploc bag, and then go around and pipe out some dots all the way around that circle. Now I'm making a mistake here. I'm putting it on top of that line. You don't want it on top of the line. You want it on the outside of the line. And you'll see why in a minute. Then take a butter knife or any other kind of object, and you're just going to smear those little dots outward to make petals. And it's actually quite easy to make. And the petals look different from one another. That's okay. Then take a toothpick and just make sure all the petals are joined together. And allow them to harden, and then take a spatula and just go underneath them just to detach them from the parchment or the waxed paper. Now it's time to attach the petals. So I put some more candy melts on the top of this cookie, or a little bit down the sides of the cookie. And then I'm going to take the larger of the two. Now, if I would have done this properly, this larger one would have went right over top of that cookie. It was slid right down, but it was sitting on top of it. So it was just slightly too small. But anyway, I wasn't going to redo that one. So I just added a little bit more candy melt, and then I added the smaller one on top of it. And then you're going to offset the petals a little so that you can see all the petals. Now for the center, a little bit more melted chocolate candy melt. Spread it around so it fills the circle, and then add in some black or some brown sprinkles. Put in a bunch, just add a whole bunch of them on top, and allow it to harden, and then all you have to do is turn it over on to a plate and all the excess will come off. And there is your completed flower. Now this does look pretty, but I want to show you what happens when you make it the right size. So I added the candy melt along the outside edge. And then I'm going to take another one that I made a little bit larger. And you'll see when it's large enough, that first one should be large enough so that it actually drops past the cookie. See how it went right down on one side? It can't go down on the other side because of the stick. So what you're going to do is you raise it up to about the midway point of the cookie so that it lines up with the same level as the one on the stick, and just hold it. Hold it for a few seconds in the right position. And this is in real time. You'll see it happens very quickly. Let it harden and then it'll stay. Those candy melts are just so much fun to work with for that reason. And I filled in the gap and I add a little bit more on the top. And then you'll add your smaller sunflower petals on the top of that. And you'll see there's a gap in between and it just gives it a really nice 3D effect. And then for the finishing, it's exactly the same. A little bit of melted chocolate and then some sprinkles. And here are some of the completed flowers that I made. I really loved how these turned out. I think they just look gorgeous. Here they are from the side. You can see the difference between the two, the ones where the petals are kind of one on top of the other and where there's a gap. I find the gap is prettier. It's a little bit more tricky to put together, but it gives more of a 3D effect. And this is what they look like from the back. Now you can put these into individual treat bags and give them away that way. You just have to be careful with them. They are a little bit fragile, so you have to be careful when you're transporting that you're not going to break those petals off. I just wanted to share something quick with you that I just discovered are these sprinkle medleys where there's a whole bunch of different sprinkles in one container. I'm not being sponsored by these. I just found them and I love them and I just wanted to show you what they look like. There's a potion. This one's called Potions and Spells. I got that at the Bulk Barn. This one here is by Wilton and I bought this one at Michael's. So as you can see, it's like a complementary colors and themes. These were actually Halloween themed, obviously, because of the eyeballs. And so what I did was I just sprinkled them on some of the Oreo cookies that I made that I did not turn into sunflowers while that chocolate had not set yet, just to show you what they look like. Now, I found sprinkle medleys in all sorts of different color themes. Like they had all purples with silver, there was pinks, there was reds, they had gold, they had silver, they had all sorts of different themed sprinkles, a whole bunch of different collections of sprinkles in one container. I just love them and I just wanted to share them with you so you can keep an eye out for them where you happen to shop and live. And here are a couple pictures of the ones that I did make. Now I have an entire playlist on my channel of recipes that use Oreo cookies, and I have made an Oreo cookie sunflower before, and that's the video that you're seeing on your screen right now. It's obviously quite different and it's on a cupcake, but it just gives you a different idea of the way you can make these. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.